Welcome to Real Voices of Happy Valley. In this episode, Dave and I were chatting with Liz Thorpe in her house in Walsden. She is the former Mayor of Todmorden and is involved in various voluntary projects. We were talking to her about Cornholme Food Hub, Dementia Friendly Todmorden and Incredible Edible, among other things.
And she also comes out with some good advice for people when you're talking to folks with dementia as well, so it's worth a listen for that. And I should say, Liz can be quite funny, and we were sort of giggling before we started recording, and we were still giggling when we started recording.
Yeah.
We're talking to Liz Thorpe in her house in Rochdale Road in Walsden. Hello, Liz.
Hello.
So you've stopped being the mayor now, but you are still doing lots of community voluntary work?
Yeah, I started doing voluntary work while I was furloughed during the pandemic. And we opened up a food hub at Vale Baptist Church in Cornholme.
So who's we?
Me and a group of friends. It was literally just... We knew that we could get food from the junk food project in Wakefield. This is a real good example, actually, of what it's like living in Todmorden. We were really worried about people either not wanting to go to big supermarkets or not able to get there, and Cornholme's quite isolated. So we contacted the junk food project in Wakefield. TLC, who run the access bus, had taken it out of service because a lot of people with disabilities and long-term illnesses were shielding.
Right, yeah.
So they didn't want to go on the bus. So they loaned us a bus, and they never charged us a penny for fuel. They gave us a bus driver to drive the bus, and we used to go once a week to Wakefield and pick and fill the bus with food. I mean, up to the roof, and then come all the way back. And we used to open 2 days a week, and the food was free to anybody who wanted it. We did take donations, and if we got donations, we gave them back to the junk food project.
Right.
But so we did that, and Jim Hockey, who's the lead at Vale Baptist Church, said that we could use his premises, so he was just terrific. So we did that from April to July, but then the bus was going back into service. We were coming out of the first lockdown. Jim wanted his church back, not for it to be full of peaches and cabbages.
That's what it's for, isn't it?
Yeah, they wanted to sort of pray again.
Like an all year round harvest festival.
So it was. So at that point, as it happened, the food drop-in at the old library at Cornholme had lost its last volunteer. It just didn't want to do it anymore. So I was asked if I would carry on doing that. So I did that really until we were able to reopen the centre. And it was very much just filling carrier bags with food and sort of giving them to people at arm's length.
Was there a good
that's all
take-up of the service, or did it take a while to catch on? Or?
It did take a while. It had sort of petered out over the sort of preceding 12 months. And when I started doing it, we'd get like half a dozen, usually single men coming. Now we've got about 60 people registered with us.
Wow.
And a lot of families, probably an equal number of children. So it's really, really taken off because the demand's grown.
Yeah.
Because especially last winter was just horrendous for people with fuel prices. It just wasn't enough money to go around in most households. So
our fuel bill trebled.
I think ours did as well. And it was, you just thought, how can this be happening? And for people on prepayment meters,
oh yeah,
who you know, you overhear conversations, and I heard this woman say, she said, I had to put 20 quid in it just to get it back to zero. Because it'll give you emergency fuel, if you like, but then you've got to...
And
So,
they're
yeah,
always more expensive, aren't they? Yeah.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Quite often, being poor makes you poorer because you can't buy in bulk, you can't get the good tariff on the direct debit, you get all those things.
Everything's more expensive when you're skint.
Yeah.
And then banks write to you say you've got no money left and we're charging you 20 quid for telling you you've got no money.
It was like people were getting punched in the gut and slapped in the face at the same time. It was really bad.
Yeah.
So how many volunteers are there helping?
Not enough.
Right.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do the food drop-in, and now we run it. It's like a cafe style, and people can choose what they want, which they couldn't in the pandemic because we just had to, follow the rules. But so people just come in, get a brew, biscuit, cake, fill in a form. They can choose what they want. Volunteers pack the bags and they take it away. We've wanted to expand what we can offer at the old library, to run like community lunches, but we just haven't got enough volunteers. The volunteers that we do have are all doing a lot, so there just isn't
So do you
the
have
capacity.
cooking facilities there?
We've got a commercial grade kitchen that we recently had refurbished, so it's it's really good.
Given like the price of fuel for people to go home and cook stuff, it's sort of quite nice if they can cook some of it there and eat it there, isn't it?
Yeah. So you need more volunteers basically, because there seems to be an awful lot of people actively volunteering for things around the town already.
I think as well, people often think I live in Cornholme because I volunteer there. Obviously I don't, but one of the things about Cornholme is it's quite out on a limb, really, with poor transport links. And it is the deprivation indices, it's the most deprived area of Todmorden. So I was talking to someone who'd lived there about 3 years and I was mentioning, and she said to me, "Where's Cornholme?"
Really?
And I was like, she went, "Oh yeah, on the way to Burnley." Yeah, well, it just hadn't registered. So yeah, it's quite an interesting thing. You do find these interesting that people. I mean, I would say I lived in Todmorden, but a lot of people really differentiate between Wolston and Todmorden. So people can get a little bit parochial sometimes, even within in the confines of one town.
So if people do want to come to Cornholme and help, how should they go about it?
Well, there is a website for the old library, and there's also a Facebook page.
Is it called Old Library?
It's officially called Cornholme and Portsmouth Old Library.
Right.
But people just call it the Old Library.
Yeah. So if they want to look that up on the website, they can see about volunteering. Oh, well, we're moving, won't be too far from Cornholme. So,
So
I might just set you to work.
yes. While people are listening, make a volunteer. Make a promise to volunteer.
I will, Liz.
There you go. That's one recruit already. Right. But that's not the only place you volunteer, is it?
No, I'm just about to start volunteering with Dementia Friendly Todmorden. They were my charity when I was the mayor. And when I stopped being the mayor in May, I had a little rest. It was quite full on. But now I'm going to start volunteering. They have Daisy's Cafe that's held at Todmorden Health Centre on the first Saturday of every month. And it's just brilliant. They offer lots of advice and support to people. Also, they raise awareness of dementia. So that's the idea, is to they will give training sessions to businesses, organisations, to make them more aware of the challenges that people face when they're living with dementia.
So it's helpful for people who've got dementia in the family, not necessarily have it themselves?
Well, both. So you will get people with dementia who come with family carers to the cafe.
And advice for them, because I mean, I've been through that with my mother, to be honest, and you just don't know what to do at first. You know, she'd sort of repeat a story. She always told stories anyway. Irish mother, she's great at telling stories, and the story would be different each time. But then after a while, you think she doesn't know that she's said that 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the. I was a social worker for many years, and one of the things I found is that a family living with dementia can become very isolated. One of the things people used to say to me when I asked them was, you know, are you still going out? Are you still doing that? Oh, well, you know, it's difficult because I'm worried if we're going to a cafe, you know, he might start. And that phrase would mean people, when they've got dementia, their perceptions of what is going on around them changes. And so they might, you know, for want of a better phrase, kick off. And people become embarrassed and they don't know what to do, so they stop doing it because it's too hard. Yeah. And I think one of the things that Dementia Friendly Todmorden seeks to do is to break down those barriers so that people don't have to feel embarrassed, don't have to be isolated.
And presumably at Daisy's Cafe itself, if that happens,
it's fine. And we have had people who, you know, if they've not been having a good day, they've come and within half an hour they've gone again because it's all too much today, but that's fine. One of the other things that can be provided is lots of equipment. So the funds that are raised are used to buy equipment. And just recently I actually got a piece of equipment for a member of my family where the person's got dementia, and the person who's looking after them said, she's driving me mad. If she asks me what day it is one more time, and there are clocks you can get that say it's Wednesday, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
Not in the morning.
Yeah.
That's really handy. I mean,
And so...
A simple thing, but really useful.
And, I mean, this relative of mine, she's aware she's got problems with her memory. So, you know, you can still sort of talk about it with her. And I said, right, I've got you a present. It's for you and it's for him. It's for you so you know what day it is. It's for him so you don't drive him crackers asking him every 5 minutes. So, you know, but little things like that can make a huge difference.
Yeah. And it's kind of how far you go with humour in people, isn't it? Because I remember with your mum, Dave and his 3 brothers were all sitting round her bed. She was in hospital at the time. And she looked at them and said, we all used to live in the same house, didn't we? And she said, can we do that again? And one of Dave's brothers was about to say, don't be ridiculous, we're grown men, we've got grandchildren and everything. And Dave's other brother said, just say yes. She's not going to hold you to it, you know, because
she won't remember.
She's living in the moment. And that was really helpful to think somebody's living in the moment, you know.
I know that during my career that there was a time when people used to talk about reorientating people. So if they said, you know, if they thought that they were in the 30s and the children were tiny and going to come home from school in a minute, you go, no, they've grown up. No, that's gone now, thankfully.
So now you just go along
wherever that person is, you go there with them.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And that's why, you know, people get quite upset, you know, and the classic example is when someone's died.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them 10 times every day
I heard that. My mother said, my mum has gone out somewhere. don't know how long she's going to be. She died in 1956. You know. See, and so I know exactly what that's like.
Yeah,
you can't
and so
just
you
say
don't
that.
say she died in that, because then somebody grieves all
Oh,
over
well,
again.
yes, she was upset
You
about
just
it in
go,
1956. She
I bet
doesn't have
she's
to
got
do it again.
I bet she's got talking to someone. She'll be back in a bit.
Yeah.
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 And then the moment moves on. Anyway.
Yeah, and then you're somewhere else.
Well, that's really useful advice just there, you know, that people listening can take heed of. Because a lot of people, because people live so much longer than they used to. So there's far more people living with dementia and living with people who have it, you know. Who
Well,
need to know
everyone
this
you
stuff.
talk to knows someone has had family who had dementia. It's very, I haven't come across anyone yet who hasn't.
And if they haven't, then they will eventually.
Or possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
right. And that's Saturday mornings.
Yeah, first Saturday of every month at Todmorden Health Centre.
And people can just drop in.
Yeah, just go. And it's really, I was surprised really at how fabulous the atmosphere was. I mean, you know, I started going when I was the mayor, but then now I choose to go because I enjoy it too. And they always have a singer on, because that's something that, I mean, if you ever want to be moved to tears, then you just need to see someone who can no longer speak start to sing. Because that's...
And we'll remember the words of songs.
So music is, you know, like it's a common sort of thing for all of us, isn't
I
it?
know a lot of people who do that or used to do that. Belinda O'Hooley is now famous in the folk world. Used to go singing in old people's homes and things like that.
Yeah, she did the theme tune for Gentleman Jack. Don't know if you ever watched it. Saran Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Erin Heidi Tito.
Yeah.
So that's great. Anyway, so you do lots of voluntary work. Now, the other thing we wanted to talk to you about is Todmorden itself, because we're about to move from Hebden Bridge to Todmorden.
Yay!
We won't go into all the details. But Todmorden just seems more real. Hebden Bridge is getting a bit touristy, over-touristy really, but it seems like a sort of real place where people have to, from Hebden Bridge, you have to go to Todmorden to do your ordinary shopping. Right? But it strikes me as a sort of place where, people feel welcomed.
Yes, I'll tell a story now about... I came to Todmorden because of the floods. Now that sounds...
A bit counterintuitive
Yes.
You really like floods or something.
I worked for Calderdale Council and I was based in Hebden Bridge, and in 2012 we had terrible floods. I was co-opted onto the recovery committee, and the recovery group starts straight away from day one. It's got the police, Met Office, Environment Agency, all that kind of police, all that kind of thing. And so I was very involved in what was going on with Todmorden, and I kept going home. We lived in Littleborough at the time, and I kept going home and saying to Paul, I can't believe what these people are like in Todmorden. And I'd tell him these tales of, like, there's a woman whose house is flooded, and is she, crying at the kitchen table? No, she's in the town hall cooking for other people. And there were all these little snippets of it. And I kept thinking, would people do that here, as in Littleborough? And I kept thinking, I'm not sure they would. And I became a bit fascinated by this community in Todmorden. So, and at the time we'd also put our house up for sale, and we'd looked at, Huddersfield, where's that other place? Marsden, sort of those kinds of places. And I said, no, I want to live in Todmorden. I want to go and live there.
Yeah.
And that's how we ended up here. And we've been here 10.5 years now. And I've made more friends and more connections here than anywhere else I've ever lived. And I've moved around a fair bit, you know, I
Yes,
haven't always
yeah.
lived in the same place for ages. And I think it is really welcoming. And there's loads and loads of... you just meet people all the time who've just moved here. And they've come from London and Manchester and all over the place.
And Hebden Bridge.
Yeah, all the
They
way,
were
all the way from Hebden Bridge. Well, we came all the way from Littlebury, all the 5 miles up the road.
Well, you couldn't move straight to Yorkshire because you've got to go into a border town first.
It's interesting, really, because I was born in Stockport, and people will hear some of the sort of Manchester tones still left. In Stockport, then Ashton-under-Lyne, then Oldham, then Rochdale, then Todmorden. So I was just working my way here.
Yeah.
Bit by bit.
It's just an arc around the city of Manchester.
I know, I did say that when I became the mayor. I said, I'm sorry you've had to wait so long for me, but I have been working my way.
Oh, well done. Well, we'll be here in a couple of weeks, won't we?
Yeah.
No, it's obviously knew you were coming to talk to me. And I was thinking about it, and I mean, we can try and analyse why Todmorden's like it is forever, can't we? And this is just my view, but I think there's quite a lot about it being a border town.
Yeah.
I think border towns, you just get on with it themselves. So there's a lot of that. We'll just do it ourselves, because Halifax, you know, that's like nearly 12 miles away, so they don't bother. I'm not saying they're not bothered about us. Colchester Council are perfectly fine. But there is always that thing, and I think Todmorden's always been quite revolutionary. So, you know, you've got the history of sort of the Chartist movement, what that was here, Basingstoke. So there are lots of tales when you read of the history of Todmorden about years ago, you know, the decisions that were made county-wide, and then the officials, councillors as they were back then, in Todmorden would just go, well, we're not doing that. We're not having it, we're doing it our way. We'll sort it ourselves out. And I think there is this thing, isn't there, that people hate to ask for help. And it's a shame, because I've always thought that when you do ask for help, people will help you.
And people want to, generally.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But that's always sort of lacking somehow, and I think we've broken through that here. And I think people do ask for help, and people do help. And genuinely, you know, that thing about the sort of kindness signs, and, you know, some people will say to me, it's all a bit cheesy, isn't it? It's a bit cheesy, all this kindness nonsense. But I think it's not a gimmick. It's not, and it's not saying there aren't any problems. You know, somebody got beat up in the bus station a few weeks ago. It's not all sweetness and light. But generally speaking, I think people look after each other.
And
That's the heart of the culture, isn't it? Yeah. It's not everybody can be lovely all the time, but culturally it's different, and the sort of community mindedness is central to what the town is.
The incredible Edible movement, I think,
I was just
contributed
gonna say
to that enormously.
Yeah. Because it's like a nice blend of kindness and the independent spirit, isn't it? You know, you want food, we can grow it, and you can help yourselves and help us plant more food, and, you know, it's a lovely combination of things.
And it's very practical.
Yeah.
I've seen people get off the train, working in Manchester or somewhere, get off the train and pick some herbs on their way home, presumably going in the tea.
Yeah, and there are some, I mean, a couple, they've lived here a couple of years now, and they came on an Incredible Edible tour. So I used to do some tours for Incredible Edible, and went home to Shropshire, sold up and moved.
Right, yeah.
So like,
just so taken with the town.
Yeah, no, but there are people who, I was walking through Centrevale Park when I was the mayor, all chained up to start a 10k run. Not me.
On your way, everybody.
Can't run in a chain, so excuse. And this woman just came up to me and she said, "Are you the mayor?"
Bit of a giveaway with the
No,
necklace.
this is just my Sunday necklace. So I said, yeah, I'm the mayor. She said, "Can I just say what a wonderful town this is? What a wonderful town you've got." As if I was solely responsible for it. It's very nice. She said, "I'm here from Canada. I'm staying with my son for 6 weeks."
Yeah.
She said, "And I think it's marvellous here." She said, "I could live here." And it makes, you're like, not bursting with pride, that'd be a bit dramatic. But, it makes you feel good.
It's quite nice from a Canadian as well, because Canada's well known as one of those really friendly and polite places.
Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. And I think on that note,
Yes.
we should wrap up. Unless there's anything else you'd like to say, Liz?
No. I think, you will be very happy here. I think you will be happy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right.
As part of that, Liz mentioned the Real Junk Food Project. This one based in Wakefield, there's one in Manchester, there's a few others dotted about. The project collects food that would otherwise go to waste and be dumped, and it combats the growing food waste problems we have globally, not just locally. So if you've enjoyed that, don't forget to follow us on your podcast platform, like us, tick follow, whatever it is you do on your particular one. And you can also check out our Facebook page, Real Voices of Happy Valley, where you can hear more of the interesting people who live in the Calder Valley in West Yorkshire.